Hi everyone. I hope I am audible. Just a second, let me just check. Okay. Okay, so today we are going to discuss about the classes of nutrients. So this is from your chapter nutrition. Okay. So before I start, let me introduce myself. I am Vani Kari, biology educator at Unacademy. I am an engineer with bachelor's and master's degree in biotechnology and a B.Ed degree. Also a founder of a startup where I grow microgreens by vertical farming technology. So you can join with us in Telegram. So for homework and class notes, you can join the channel Vani Kari ICSE class 9 and 10 and Telegram channel of Unacademy ICSE and ISC Boards. So you can click on this link. So this link you will find in the description box. Okay, so you can click on the link and join the channel for updates regarding the classes also. And also we are conducting a free classes, that is special classes on Unacademy, where you can have a live real-time interaction using the chat and the emojis, where you can discuss with the learner, where you can discuss with the educator as well. So ask questions using the question tab. So you can type in your question, attach an image and send it to the educator during a live class, and they'll be clearing your doubts. Okay, as they'll be getting a notification that the learner has asked. So from chat what happens, since lot of comments keep on coming, so your question might get lost. Okay, so that is why you can use this question tab where you can type in your question. Then live poll option for quiz. Okay, so that means we are conducting a poll war or a quiz also, where the option and questions will be available on the screen. Okay, and you will get options to select, so that you can attend these quizzes. So live quiz it is. Okay, and after that we will be sharing a leaderboard. Okay, so that you can know your rank, like first rank, second rank, up to 10 ranks we will be sharing. All right, and so that you can compete with your friends as well. So now this one, the one which I informed till now, so that was of a special class, the free classes, and this is for plus learner. That means you need to take a subscription here. So what exactly is the feature of Unacademy subscription features for plus? So it is you can learn live from the comfort of your home. Okay, so unlimited access to all the courses will be there. Then top educators of India are going to take the class in one platform, so that is Unacademy platform. Then regular doubt clearing session will be done, answer writing session. So basically after every 3 session, the fourth session that we are conducting, so that is your doubt clearing session. So any doubts you have related to the topics that are previously covered, so you can clear your doubts in this session. Okay, so if you do not have any doubts, so we can go with the quiz itself or maybe a practice itself. So complete coverage of a syllabus is done, mentorship and guidance is given, study material is given, then practice test series, live test series, batch courses. Now again with this, so let's say you want to learn in Hindi, so you can go for the batch where the mode of delivery is Hindi. Let's say you want to learn in English, so you can go for the English batch as well. So depending on your convenience, you can go for any of these batches. Okay, so there is daily practice session, weekly mock test series, live quizzes, daily MCQ and subjective test series. So you will have access to all of this if you are going for a plus subscription. So these are the features which we saw, and these are the respective month and the cost. Okay, so so let's say this is for class 9 now. So if you want to try like how exactly this works, so you can go for 6 months or maybe 9 months, and if you are planning to complete your class 10, maybe you can go with the 12 months of subscription or 18 months. So depending on your convenience and how you are planning, so you can go for any of these months of subscription. And this is my referral code Vani YT. So with this referral code you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription. मैम बायोलॉजी के प्रैक्टिकल्स होंगे, वेर यू आर आस्किंग हियर ऑन अनअकैडमी प्लेटफॉर्म, यू आर आस्किंग. सो प्रैक्टिकल्स एनीवे we can explain, but practicals lab has to be there. Maybe in your school they conduct a practicals, right? So you can refer to that, but any doubt you have, you can get in touch with us. Okay. Yeah, so here I was saying about, so you can get 10% discount on the subscription. Okay, and other than that there is a offer, so offer for plus subscribers. So this is for class 9 to 10. All right, so let's say you are going for 12 months of subscription. Basically you are getting extra 2 months also, so that means you are getting 14 months of subscription here with 12 months, and on top of it you will be getting flat 10% discount on the subscription, that is with the referral code Vani YT. Okay, so you can use this referral code. Only with the referral code you will be getting 10% off. So let's get started with the classes of nutrients from the chapter nutrition. Okay, so classes of nutrients, the food substances. Okay, so there are 6 classes of food substances. So mainly we are going to study about the carbohydrates, fats and proteins today. Okay, so let's have a look at this. And in that again, so there are 6. The one is carbohydrate, which is a macronutrient, that means it is required by our body. So like for on a daily basis, like for working of each and every cell, the carbohydrates, fats and proteins, so these are required in a larger quantity, so that we call as a macronutrient. Okay, so macronutrients when we mention, so these are required in larger quantity, and these are required mineral salts and water, so these are micronutrient. And water again, it is a it is not exactly a nutrient itself, but this is gonna help you get certain things, so that is again this is also required in a large quantity itself. Okay, so let's have a look at this one now. So before I start with the carbohydrates, so okay, I'll just explain this just a second. Yeah, so now carbohydrates when we mention, okay, so carbohydrates are basically the carbon, there will be carbon atom will be there, so there is hydrogen, oxygen and all will be there. Okay, so now organic, so these are all organic compounds, the carbohydrate and the proteins what are there. All right, then other than that the fat which is there, so all of these are organic compounds. So why do we mention them as an organic compound? Because they'll have this carbon atom in their structure. Okay, so the ones which are having a carbon atom, one which are having the carbon, hydrogen, then there can be nitrogen, oxygen, so those which are having, and the ones which can be easily degraded. Okay, so one which can get degraded by the pathogen, so those we call as a organic compound. So let's have a look at carbohydrates now. So these are the compounds of carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, with hydrogen and oxygen always in the ratio of 2:1. Okay, so here if I write a formula like C6, one second, yeah, so C6H12O6, what is happening here? So ratio is 2:1 with respect to hydrogen and oxygen, so C6H12O6. okay, so hydrogen ratio is 2. Okay, so 2 is hydrogen ratio is 1 here. All right, so this ratio you will find in case of carbohydrates. So these are oxidized, so they are oxidized in the cell, that is to release the energy. So how exactly are we getting energy now? So glucose is there, so this is now a glucose. Okay, so glucose is the one which is getting oxidized, okay, and then what is happening? The carbon dioxide is released as a waste product, then there is water which is released, and with that, so we are also getting a ATP, that is for performing most of the activities of our body. So energy currency is required. So ATP is actually a energy currency which will provide us a strength. Okay, so carbohydrates include starch, then in that, sugar, starch, cellulose and all will be there. So what exactly is starch, what exactly is cellulose made of, what exactly is starch? So we are going to discuss about that in today's class. Okay, so any doubt till here? All clear? Okay. So with this, sugars, when we mention sugars are soluble in cold water. Okay, so these will get solubilized in the cold water. That means now you take a cup of water, okay, then you are adding a sugar to it. So mixing it, so easily this is gonna get solubilized, and this is also sweet. But the sugars in our fruit are of two major categories. Okay, so monosaccharides, that is simple sugars, and the other one is disaccharides. So mainly we have two types here. The monosaccharide or single sugar will be there. Disaccharide, when we mention, so two sugars will be there. So let's have a look at these now. Sugars, that is monosaccharide. So what exactly is the meaning of this one? So why do we say it as a monosaccharide? So you can have a look at this itself. So saccharide is for sugar. Okay, so saccharide meaning is sugar. Mono is what? Single. So there is single sugar. Okay, only a one unit of a sugar will be there with the general formula. So this is of glucose itself. So C6H12O6. Okay, so these do not need digestion or straight away, so they are absorbed into the body. So if it is a monosaccharide, that means only one unit of glucose is there. Okay, so glucose is readily absorbed by the body, so this can be readily absorbed, so you need not break it down further. So this will get absorbed, that means it can be taken into the blood. Okay, and once the blood takes the glucose, where is it going? The blood is going to supply this glucose to the cell, and in the cell nucleus is there, so there is a mitochondria. So mitochondria is where this particular glucose is supplied by the blood, and also the oxygen. So here itself, this reaction we can see. So what is this reaction? This is a cellular reaction. Okay, so cellular respiration process where there is release of energy that we can find. Okay, so here we saw the monosaccharide. So that is three types are there. So glucose is there, the one which is popularly known as a grape sugar. Okay, and is most common and simplest sugar which we find in most of the organisms. So when we say blood sugar level, it is we are talking about the glucose. So those who are diabetic individuals, those who are having diabetes, so in them what do we always mention? So diabetes patients, in them the blood sugar level has increased, we say, right? So we do not say blood fructose has increased, blood galactose has increased. So we either say that the blood glucose has increased or blood sugar. So now when we are mentioning about the glucose, so it is the one which has increased in the blood. So that is a blood sugar level. So when we say blood sugar, it is basically the glucose level in the blood itself has increased. So glucose is a simple unit which can be readily absorbed. Then fructose, what else do we call a fructose as? So this is known as a fruit sugar. Okay, so this is a fruit sugar. And then there is galactose. So this one is a simple sugar which we can find in milk. Okay, so galactose is found in milk. So you need to remember these things. where exactly do we find a galactose, where do we find a fructose, where do we find a glucose. Okay, so each and every details like sources of these compounds you need to know. Now moving on to disaccharide. So what exactly is disaccharide? So if two sugar units are there, okay, so if two sugar units are there, then in that case we call it as a disaccharide. Di is for two, saccharide is for the sugar. Okay, so two sugar units are there, that means it is either made of glucose and glucose. So two units of glucose are there. So let's say there can be glucose and a galactose unit can be there. So this is also there. And other than that, so let's say there is a glucose and fructose unit also. So when these two units of these monosaccharides are there, so that we call as a disaccharide. Okay, so disaccharide or double sugars, so they have a general chemical formula. So this is the formula that you need to remember. Okay, so other one was C6H12O6, so that was for a glucose or in general for a monosaccharide when we mentioned. So now this is for a disaccharide, C12H22O11. So this you need to know. So mainly there are three and they require digestion. Now if a sucrose, let's say you are consuming a sucrose, so this requires a digestion. So let's say you are consuming a maltose, this requires a digestion. If you are consuming a milk, so lactose is there in the milk, so there also digestion is required. So in all these cases, so this is with respect to monosaccharide, no digestion is not required here. Okay, for a monosaccharide, but for disaccharide the digestion is required. So what exactly is this one now? So these are our commercial sugars. So this is our commercial sugar. So this is commonly obtained from the sugar cane, the one which you have sugar in your home, right? So the one which you keep, like if you are making any sweets, or small kids, they by walking here and in and around, so they keep on eating sugar. So this sugar is not readily absorbable. This is soluble in water, but this has to be broken down. That means a digestion has to occur with this sugar. Okay, so it is basically two units are there. So one is two monosaccharide units are there. So between that the glucose, so here you can see here another source of sucrose it is, and it is a sugar beet. So sucrose is a double sugar made of simple sugars like glucose and fructose will be there. Okay, so now sugar that we are talking of, the one which we are consuming, so it will have glucose plus fructose. Okay, so what we need to do here, the digestion has to occur. That is, the bond between the glucose and the fructose has to break down. Then glucose can be absorbed easily. That is, it can be taken into the blood. Okay, so same way fructose is the one. So fructose has to be later on converted into glucose. Then it can be taken into the blood and the supply can be done. So sugar that you are consuming, so it is not readily absorbable. One bond breakage is required there as well. Maltose. Okay, so alternate name you need to remember. So now this is sugar cane is there. So for sugar, this is obtained from a sugar cane, and other than that for maltose, it is a malt sugar made of two glucose molecules. Where do you find this one? Okay, so here we say maltose. Okay, so let me just write this here. Maltose, when we are saying, so there are two sugar units. How exactly in your mouth maltose production will occur? Okay, so your salivary amylase enzyme, it is going to produce a maltose in your mouth itself. So there is no digestion which is occurring, that is with respect to stomach here. So digestion will start in your oral cavity itself, that is with respect to your mouth. So let's say you are consuming a starch. Okay, so that is rice you are consuming. Then when you are mixing up your rice with the mouth, that is basically the saliva. Okay, so rice is getting mixed with the saliva. So in the mouth itself, this starch is broken down into maltose, where it will be having two sugar units, that is glucose plus glucose will be there. Okay, so starch, when we mention, more than 10 units of glucoses are there in a starch. Okay, so more than 10 units. So let me just draw like this. So let me just write it like this. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. So I'm just writing 6, but 6 are not there. More than 10 units of glucose are there. So now the salivary amylase which is there in your mouth, so that is going to act on this starch. Okay, and then what it is going to do, it will form the, it will break the bond which is there between the glucose. So let me just show you this, one second. So here, so this bond which is there, so it will make a 2 units of this. Okay, so starch is broken down in your mouth itself by the salivary amylase, where you are going to get a maltose in your mouth itself. Then this maltose will get inside your stomach and further digestion is gonna occur. That means the maltose is broken down into single unit of a glucose. So here 2 units of a glucose is formed in your mouth itself. So maltose when we mention, so 2 glucose molecules are there. Lactose when we mention, hi Shreyas, good evening. Okay, so lactose when we mention, so there is milk sugar which is again made of glucose and galactose. So there is glucose also, there is galactose also. So lactose when we mention, so this is basically, let me just write it here. So lactose will have, okay, so this one is now a lactose. Okay, so this is made of a glucose and then a galactose will be there. So these 2 units are there and lactase enzyme is required to break down the lactose. So what will happen now? So lactase enzyme will act on this bond. So lactase enzyme will break down. So glucose is separated and galactose is separated. So in case of a starch, so we saw the structure of a starch where I mentioned that is more than 10 units of a glucose are there. Okay, so starch is an insoluble carbohydrate. Why is it insoluble? Because not just 2 units of glucose are there, more than 10 units of glucose you can find in there. So it is in this form that plants commonly store the carbohydrate. The fruit, or mainly not just the fruit, mainly the pulses and grains. Okay, so pulses and grains what we talk, so this is basically a plant is going to store the starch in the form of pulses and grains, and also the potatoes and all. Okay, so sweet potato or a normal potato, then in certain cases with respect to other vegetables, so starch storage is done. Okay, so starch is stored mainly by the plant in the form of a potato. So it is going to store that food which is prepared. So potatoes, grains like rice, maize, wheat, barley, and also the bread is having. So these are the main sources of starch. Okay, so starch is having a chemical formula. So this one you need to know. So C6H10O5 and it is N times. So this is not only 1 times the glucose is present, more than 10 units of glucose can be found, and that is why starch is not a monosaccharide, it is not a polysaccharide, it is not a disaccharide. In fact, it is a polysaccharide. Okay, so polysaccharide means many units of a sugar are present. Yes, understanding this? Any doubt? All right. So two other insoluble polysaccharides are, so there is a cellulose also, the plant cell wall. Okay, so let's say this is a plant cell now. Okay, so cell wall of a plant which is there, so this is a cell wall which is there. Okay, so cell wall so cell wall is made of cellulose itself. Okay, so cellulose is again not easily soluble. So in our case at least, that is in case of humans, we can't even digest the cellulose. So that itself is forming a roughage. Okay, so we will discuss about this one. So cellulose digestion will happen with the help of an enzyme cellulase. Okay, so enzyme cellulase is not there in our body, that is why, so we cannot digest the cellulose, and this is going out as a fiber itself, and as it can absorb more water, so this can absorb more water, so the individual will never have a difficulty of passing a stool. That is basically constipation problem won't be there for those individuals who are continuously taking a cellulose based food, that means plant based food that they are consuming. Okay, so this is found in the cell wall of plants. It is unused in our body, but it contributes in providing a roughage for proper functioning of a heart, as the absorption of water will be there, so this will form a roughage. Glycogen is a form in which carbohydrates are stored in animals. Okay, so glycogen, when we mention the carbohydrate, excess amount of glucose we have in our body. Okay, so whenever there is too much of glucose present, so let's say we are doing overeating. Okay, so now I like something, I like some sweets. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go on eating until I'm full. Okay, and after that, even I'll go for eating more and more. So what is happening there? Overeating. So since I'm eating sweet, a lot of sweet, so there is too much of glucose in my body. Okay, and your body, it is not going to throw away the glucose, so it will store the glucose. So how exactly it is going to do? So it will make a chain of glucose. That is because all the glucose units are converted. Okay, so all the glucose units are joined together, and this will be made in the form of a glycogen, and glycogen is the one which will get stored in the liver. Okay, so in liver the storage of a glycogen will be done. Okay, so other than that, so this is mainly in liver and some also in case of muscle. So carbohydrates are the principal energy sources in our body. So that is 1 mole of glucose is going to release 686 kilocalories of energy. Alright, so roughage is non-digestible cellulose. Okay, so cells of all plants have cell walls that is made of cellulose. So when we eat fruit, that is again raw vegetables or other plant materials, so cellulose is not digested. Okay, so this is because we have no cellulose digesting enzyme. So there is no cellulase in our body, so we just take cellulose, and the undigested cellulose, which is fibrous in nature, so this itself is fibrous in nature, and that acts as a roughage. Yes, any doubt in this? So today finally I'm getting a live chat. So I actually till the last class I was not getting live chat. So I just Google search, how, what is the reason why the live chat is not coming. And finally I went to the settings, and it was actually live chat was kept off. So that's the reason I was not getting live chat. But now it is fine. I think I'm getting it every day. But today at least I got. So let me find out from tomorrow. Anyway, it will be there, I guess. Okay, so yeah, role of roughage. Okay, so this is being fibrous. Cellulose absorbs a lot of water, so lot of water absorption, so that is done by the roughage itself, that is cellulose itself, and it will retain it, so it will keep it absorbed in itself, so that helps in keeping the fecal matter soft and prevents the constipation. So those who are having a issue of constipation, so they need to go for more of fibrous food. Okay, so fibrous food is nothing but the cellulose rich food that they need to consume, so that they'll never feel, they'll not have a problem of constipation. The movement of the undigested food through the intestine is also gonna get easier. It stimulates the muscle contraction. The muscle contraction is stimulated in the intestine wall, making the movement of the fecal matter easy. So the fecal matter, intestine, when we mention, so let's say here is the large intestine that is there, okay. So in the large intestine, this fecal matter has to move. So here the cecum is there, okay, and then the rectum part, and then the anal part is here, okay. So now the food which is entering over here, so the a mass of fecal matter, what is this? So it should have some amount of water. So fecal matter, okay, along with the water, all right. So water absorption will occur at this particular large intestine itself, okay. So only the required amount of water absorption will occur. So that is why when you are consuming a cellulose rich food or a fibrous rich food, so the fecal matter can move in easily across this larger intestine, okay. So now sources of roughage. So what are all the sources of roughage? So you can go for the vegetables, the fruits, then corn, half crushed wheat, which we call as a dalia also, are the main sources or the chief sources of the roughage in our food. Cabbage is one vegetable which provides a lot of roughage, okay. So you can go with the cabbage also if one is having a difficulty with their passing a stool. So moving on to the next one. Yes, any doubts in this? All right. So moving on to the next one here. So fats, all right. So fats are also composed of carbon. So there is carbon in them, there is hydrogen and then oxygen. So whenever carbon based compounds are there, okay, so carbon based compounds are there, so there can be hydrogen, there can be oxygen. So when we find, so mainly the carbon based compounds, so that we call as organic compounds, okay. So these are organic one, inorganic ones are also there. So those are actually the minerals, okay. So organic compounds, so these are organic compounds and these are macronutrients. Yes, so what is macronutrient here? That is the nutrients, okay, which are required. So these are required in large quantity, okay. So macronutrients are required in large quantity, but when we talk of micronutrients, okay, so micronutrients also another term is there. So when we say micronutrients, so these are required in less quantity, okay. So these are required in less quantity. So that is why the macronutrient types when we mention, so in our body, so mainly we require carbohydrates, we require proteins, all right, then we require lipids also, that is fats. So here in this case it is the vitamins, all right, then there are minerals. So minerals are also a part of a micronutrient itself, okay. So fats are composed of carbons. So there are carbons, there are hydrogen atoms, then there is oxygen as well. So oxygen content in these nutrients is much less, okay. So as compared to the carbohydrates and proteins, oxygen content in these nutrients is going to be lesser, okay. Fats again, so it is much lesser, okay, and overall oxygen content itself is a less. So they produce more energy than carbohydrate, but the fats can produce more amount of energy as in comparison with the this thing, that is carbohydrates. So I'll show you how, okay. So the carbohydrates, when they are broken down, what we are getting, so the simple product is glucose here, okay. And other than that, the fats, okay, so fats when they are broken down, so what are we getting? Fatty acid plus glycerol we are getting, okay. So what is said here, so you could see here, these are going to provide, so this fat, so they provide more energy than the carbohydrate Okay, so that is mainly because, I'll show you this one. As you can see that the glucose is there, so the glucose is going to get oxidized. It will produce a respective amount. So fatty acid has to get converted into glucose. Glycerol also has to get converted into glucose. So instead of 1 unit, so we are getting 2 units of a glucose, and energy production will be more with respect to fats as compared to a carbohydrate. Okay, so here you can see, all right, so here now carbohydrates do 1 mole of fat release 9.45 kilocalories of energy. So common food rich in fats are butter, okay, so there is cream, vegetable oil, fats of meat, fish liver oils, all right. Fats and oils are made up of fatty acids and a glycerol. So what are they made of? When we break down a fat, so we are going to get a fatty acid and a glycerol, all right. So fat produces energy in the body like carbohydrate. So heat energy is being produced, okay. So this heat energy is later on, so this is converted into chemical energy. So what exactly is chemical energy here? So it is the ATP, okay. So adenosine triphosphate is being produced. So ATP production can occur there. Hi Dheeraj, good evening. Okay, so ATP production can occur. So fats produce more energy, okay. So they produce the energy. So this is a heat energy, okay. So ATP is adenosine triphosphate, okay. So ATP when we mention, so adenosine triphosphate, that means it is the energy currency, okay. So all the actions that you can perform. So let's say Dheeraj is, he's playing a cricket, he's running in the morning, he's performing all much more activities which are performed by all of our bodies, or inside are also. So basically lot of activities are occurring. So for all these activities to occur, energy is required. So ATP is the energy currency, that is adenosine triphosphate, okay. So this is the energy currency, so that you are going to get lot of energy supply. Basically you are getting it from the glucose itself. And same way fats also can produce lot of energy. So that is heat energy is produced, then it is converted into chemical energy. So yeah, clear, okay. All right, so it is an important storage form of a food, okay. So basically your adipose tissue, so you have already studied about the tissue which is there in your body, the adipose tissue, okay. So this is the one which is responsible for fat storage in our body, okay. So we are all getting fat, right? But when you consume oily food, so all this food, the fat food that you consume, so this is not going out of the body. So only thing is that the fat storage is done. So where exactly this will get stored? So this will get stored in the adipose tissue, okay. So adipose tissue is the one which is storing the energy, that is fat mainly. And whenever, so let's say you plan on making, you want to lose the weight, and you plan on making, following a healthy diet. So in that case you do not eat fat rich food, okay. So why we do not eat fat rich food is basically, why we do not eat in case of diet is basically adipose tissues are the ones which are going to I like your sound so clear, we can easily understand. Thank you so much Dheeraj. Okay, so in this case, so because of the same thing itself, that is mainly because whenever you are eating more of a fat, adipose tissue is going to store, and because of that itself, and now when you start dieting, so you are not consuming a fat, and all the fat which was stored in your adipose tissue, so that will start degrading, okay. So this fat will be broken down, okay. So since you are under a diet now, so fat will be broken down into fatty acid, okay. So degradation will occur, so fatty acid and glycerol will be produced, then these are converted into glucose, and you are basically getting a energy, because cellular respiration is going to occur. So fat is converted into glucose, then glucose is providing its energy. So what exactly happens in here? So how exactly glucose is providing us energy? Glucose is going to combine with the oxygen. That means cellular respiration process will occur. So oxidation of glucose will occur. Waste product carbon dioxide, water, and energy release, that is ATP release, will be done. So that is how even when you are dieting, okay, even when you are dieting, so you are getting some amount of energy for your survival. Okay, so that is mainly because of the ATP. So what exactly is fatty acid? So fatty acid is simple unit. I'll just explain it here. Yeah, so fatty acid, when we mention, so fats which are there, so fats are made up of, that is oil what you consume. Oil is made of two units. Okay, so one is fatty acid, so this is a simple unit. Okay, so simple unit of a fat, so same way as that of a glucose. So fatty acid is a simple unit, and then there is a glycerol. So oil is made up of fatty acid and a glycerol. So these two together forming a oil. Okay, so these two are simple units now, the fatty acid and glycerol. So these can be easily taken by the body. Okay, that means your blood can easily absorb this one, and it can supply to the relative tissues, like the tissues which are in requirement. So here, yeah, so other than that, it serves as a solvent for fat soluble vitamins also. So there are two types of vitamins that you will study. Okay, so one is with respect to water soluble vitamins are there, fat soluble vitamins are there. So fat soluble vitamins are getting solubilized in this fat itself, that is the solution of a fat is provided. So fat under the skin protects the body against the rapid loss of heat as well. Okay, so this is also done. And other than that, okay, so this is basically insulation. Okay, so your body heat is being maintained. Okay, so fat under the skin, so hypodermis, you have studied about this one now. So there is a epidermis layer, below is a dermis layer, and then there is a hypodermis layer. So hypodermis layer is the one where fat storage will be done, and that is how we are all getting fat. Okay, so fat under the skin will protect the body against the rapid loss of a heat. So this is going to retain a heat. Okay, so hypodermis is going to retain a heat, so that is why the heat is provided to your body for all the functioning of a different organs. So now proteins, when we mention, so these are again the chemical molecules. So they also contain carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and nitrogen. All right, so nitrogen is most essential element in case of a protein. So till now what we were discussing, so there was carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen was there, but in case of protein we can find a nitrogen also, and it is the most essential element that is required. Okay, so they will also contain sulfur, and also phosphorus will be there. Okay, so there can be sulfur molecule, there can be phosphorus also, which is present in these proteins. So amino acids are simple, so they are smaller units of proteins. So proteins provide chemical material for the growth and repair of the body cells. So body cells are getting repaired, so growth is occurring. So this is all because of the protein. Each and every cell in your body. So let's have a look at this one. So let's say this is a cell now. So cell membrane will have a protein units there. Okay, so this will be having protein units. So because of this protein, now again a membrane is there. So this is a nuclear membrane, or let's say mitochondrial membrane. So these membranes are made of protein. So for every working, protein is required. So now when we talk of protein, so proteins are basically made of amino acids. So many units of amino acids will join together. Okay, and they are going to form a protein structure. Okay, so we will find a protein. So protein formation will occur because of the amino acid itself. So amino acid is the building block for a protein. Okay, so now proteins provide a chemical material for growth, so this we saw. And in the time of emergency, let's say you have not eaten a food. Okay, so let's say you have not consumed any food. Lot of them can survive without a food for up to month, also for some days also. So in that case, so when you have not consumed the food, okay, so the protein which is there, okay, so that is the cellular protein which is there, so that itself will break down. Okay, so amino acid is formed, and breaking down of amino acid into glucose will occur. So this glucose will get oxidized, that is cellular respiration will occur, and then energy supply is done. So now this human being to survive without the food, okay, so he or she has not consumed the food over a long period of time, but the protein, the cellular protein what is there, so that itself will break down, it will release amino acid, then this amino acid is converted into glucose, then from glucose, since we are respiring, so glucose is going to get oxidized, and ATP, that is energy, adenosine triphosphate, will be synthesized. Okay, so here food rich in protein, so proteins provide a growth and repair we saw. So food rich in protein include the meat, then fat free mussels, fish, egg, milk, cheese, nuts, beans, peas. So most of these food what we consume, so they are rich in protein. So deficiency of protein, so let's say if a protein is not there, so what is going to happen, so it is the Kwashiorkor disease and the Marasmus disease. So you will be studying in this chapter about the Kwashiorkor. So what exactly is Kwashiorkor? It is a severe protein deficiency usually affecting young children. So who are young children? Okay, so young children are basically the infant who is born. So if he is not given enough of breast milk, okay, so if he is not done feeding, or maybe it is not just the related to the protein source, related to the milk production, so it can be related to deficiency of protein in his diet. Okay, so when that happens, the disease is caused when mothers stop breastfeeding. Okay, so they are not feeding their children because lot of reasons might be there. So maybe mother is not getting a milk, or there could be she doesn't wish to, okay, because she is working. So many reasons could be there. So in that case, the babies at an early age itself, so they'll have a very less nutrition, that is with respect to proteins. So poor in proteins, okay, so they are not getting a protein source. So mother's milk is rich in protein, and after weaning, what is weaning here? That is introducing a child to the solid, after 6 months of the birth of the baby. Okay, so usually solid food is introduced to the baby. Okay, so this weaning, after weaning, so the child is given a diet. So now the solid food is introduced to the child, and if this solid food is not rich in protein, okay, so she is not giving a protein rich food, so she, let's say mother is giving only rice or something like that. So in that case, what is happening? So the child can get Kwashiorkor disease. Okay, so is given a diet mainly consisting of a carbohydrate, that is only rice. If mother keeps on feeding only the rice, if any parents, it's not just the mother, so any parents or the guardians who are there, so if they keep on feeding only the rice, which is not at all having any amount of protein, okay, so very less amount of protein can be there. So in that case, the child is going to get deficient in protein. So suffering child can die also before the age of 5 years. Okay, so within the 5 years, if it is not corrected, if enough amount of protein is not given, so it can lead to death of a child also. So what are the symptoms here? Underweight, okay, protruding belly, that is the belly is extend, like it has come out, then skin getting darker and scaly, so we can find a dry skin also, the growth, stunted growth. So they cannot, their body is not flexible like this. Okay, so they stunted growth. So it will be, it will be very harsh. It is not flexible as such. So proper bending and all cannot occur. Then other than that, repeated diarrhea, so loose motion they can have. Then enlarged liver and anemia, that is blood cells are very less, RBCs. Okay, so since RBCs are less, the liver, okay, so in the liver what is happening, so there is no actually oxygen supply is not done, and RBC is where, liver is where RBCs are actually forming a bile juice. So if the bile juice formation is not occurring because the hemoglobin itself is not there to form a bile juice, so if bile juice function is not occurring, so liver is going to get affected, the digestive system is going to affected. So in turn lot of processes will get affected if proper protein supply is not given. Okay, so that is why when a mother is looking after a child, or any guardians are looking after a child, so that is just after the birth, so minimum, the WHO, okay, so WHO will recommend 1 year of breastfeeding minimum. Okay, so minimum 1 year breastfeeding has to be done, and after that, so if a mother wishes, so they can go for 2 years of breastfeeding also. And if mother further wants to continue, so it is completely left to her, so she can breastfeed 2 years and above also. Okay, so again there is a particular age where they have to stop because they have to socialize also. Okay, so that is why minimum 1 year of breastfeeding is required. So other than that, edema is basically the swelling. Okay, so swelling of the feet, the face. Okay, so face swelling we can see, that is because of accumulation of water in the tissues of the feet as well as a face. Hi Satyarth, please upload skeleton chapter. So yes, here I can conduct, here I can conduct the classes, but you need to, Unacademy app you can download and start attending the classes there as well. So as I'll be conducting, so that will be a special class. So here anyway I'm going to conduct. So I have already taken skeleton chapters. So you can watch the recordings that are there. Okay, so this is already there. Okay, so you can have a look at that. So in the video section you can find, so I have taken the skeleton chapter already. So you can also download the Unacademy learner app and start attending the sessions there as well. So these are gonna help you crack your finals also, because we are conducting a quiz and special classes as well. Is that fine? Okay, so edema is there, so swelling of the feet and basically face, because there is water accumulation which can occur in your feet and face if a protein supply is not done. Okay, so control and treatment for this one, the child suffering from kwashiorkor, so this could be given a protein rich diet. Okay, so like they can be given pulses, milk, egg, fish, meat, or mixed diet of wheat, gram, peanuts, soybean, jaggery. So this is also gonna help. So name kwashiorkor has come from the sickness that the baby gets when the new baby comes. Okay, so this is so because the elder child source of protein, that is mother milk, is no longer available, and he is usually fed on a starchy diet consisting mostly of fruits and vegetables. So that is why a more of a food has to be given. So same way Marasmus, is it free or paid? So on special classes anyway, free classes are also there, but free classes are actually only restricted content will be there. Okay, but for paid classes regular classes will be done. But here the one which I have done on YouTube, so this is last month which was done, so the complete chapter is already there. Okay, so other than that, yeah, I was talking about the marasmus. So marasmus usually affects the infants below the age of 1 year. Okay, so this is again due to deficiency of carbohydrates, fats, proteins in the diet. So if this child is not getting any of these macronutrients sufficiently, then in that case it will be affecting the child. So here the sudden stoppage of breastfeeding can cause this one. followed by a diet poor, so basically the poor diet which is having a very less amount of all these contents like carbohydrates, fats. Okay, so this is the Marasmus child now. Okay, so in that case, less body weight, degeneration which can result in a weak body, skin can become loosely folded, the thin is gonna get, the thin face, or thinning of the limb. The skin also can get thinner because of less storage of fat and other things. Then retarded physical and mental growth, ribs can appear prominent, so ribs appearing prominent. So all these are the symptoms and the controls. When we mention the child is going to suffer from a marasmus, so this should be given a diet which is rich in protein and carbohydrate. Okay, so I want to take Unacademy subscription. I'm very impressed with the teacher of Unacademy. Is it okay? So, or I'll just inform you about this one. So all you need to do is download the Unacademy Learner app. Okay, so you can select your category. So since you are in class 9 ICSE, I guess, because you are attending this class, so I'm just guessing it. So since you are in ICSE class 9, so you can go for the class 10 subscription. So there, regular classes will be done, that is in plus classes. So you can use my referral code VANIYT to get 10% discount also. And with this referral code, what you can do, so there is one more offer. So if you are going for 12 months of subscription, so basically you are getting 2 months free. Okay, and with the referral code VANIYT, okay, so you will be getting 10% discount also. So if you are planning to take a subscription, go for it now itself, because this offer is going on right now. So if you are going for 12 months, you are getting 14 months of subscription and 10% discount with the VANIYT. Okay, so I'll inform about this one. Yeah, so this is the differences. I'll just continue with this as I need to end the class now. Okay, so these are the ongoing batches. So mode of delivery is Hindi. In the Udan batch, the champions batch, the mode of delivery is English. So you will get one more chance for the aptitude test, that is Prodigy test, which is there on Feb 27th. So you can enroll now. So this is the timing. Okay, so 12 to 1. So this is the aptitude test. Again, you can use my referral code VANIYT to unlock this one. Okay, so you can click on the link which is available on the description box and use the VANIYT code to unlock. Okay, so this code you can use to unlock the free products that are there on Unacademy. And also if you are going for a subscription, so you will be getting 10% discount on the subscription with the referral code. Okay, so we are also conducting test series and analysis on every Saturday and Sunday. So this is again going to help you crack your finals. Okay, so one shot revisions are being conducted. So basically the poll war, the quizzes, and one shot revision on different topics we are conducting on Unacademy platform. So all you need to do is download the Unacademy Learner app. So how you can watch my special class? Download the Unacademy Learner app, open the app and click on get started. Then you can enter your mobile number and a OTP. You can also sign up using your email ID. Okay, then you can select your class. So you are since you are in class 6 to 12, so you can select this one. Then you can select your category as ICSE, because here CBSE is seen, ICSE category is also visible. So you can choose this one. Okay, then you can choose the language of your preference like Hindi, English. Then to unlock the free products, again you can use the referral code VANIYT. Okay, so download the Unacademy app now and try all of these features for free. This is my referral code. Also subscribe to our channel, that is Unacademy ICSE and ISC Boards, and download the Unacademy Learners app now and start learning Unacademy. Let's crack it. Thank you everyone. See you all in the next session. So I'm going to buy this course. Okay, sure, Satyarth. Okay, so if you are in class 9, maybe you can go with the class 10 subscription. Okay, so this is going to help you. So you can go for 12 months of subscription, as you can cover your class 10 also. Okay, so yes, all the best. Thank you everyone. Bye bye. Take care.